Hello, welcome back. I'm Tonya from Tonya's Witchy Kitchen, and how are you today? Hope you're doing good. November is just flying for me. Just flying. I swear last week was like the first. And all I could think was I have the whole month. I have the whole month yet. I'm good. It's gone. It is just gone. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk to you about today. So my husband and I have kind of, how people grow and change, and, in a marriage, it's kind of like you just try and, you might come apart, but you try and stay on the same level. Does that make sense? You kind of just stay, whatever. Anyway, it's been very, very hard for me to do because he has had some changes of belief in our, I don't really want to say religion. I don't really want to say faith. It's just, in that spiritual aspect of belief, he has kind of deviated and taken a quick left turn. Like when you're on the horse and the horse goes this way and you go forward, it's just sudden. And yeah, some of it's been sudden for me, but whatever. The one thing that he has been saying lately is that, and if you believe this, it's fine. I'm not criticizing anybody. He's been saying that souls get recycled. Like if they go to heaven, obviously if they go the other way, I don't think you can get out. But if you go to heaven and you choose not to be there or you don't want to stay, that you get recycled back down to earth. And so in the concept of you see somebody and they look so vaguely familiar, he's like, well, it's because, you've seen this person before, possibly in another life. I have a hard time with this, a very hard time with this, because for the simple fact of there have been books that have come out in the last, 10 years. It could be longer. I don't know. About heaven. Like the little 5-year-old who, wrote about his experiences with heaven. I was at a class where it's, I think, is it 45 minutes of heaven? It's not Proof of Heaven. Proof of Heaven is a really good book too. I think it's 40 minutes in heaven or something like that. I'll see if I can find it and then link it below. But I mean, the people that experience these things, they don't want to come back. Like this guy lived through an accident he probably shouldn't have lived through. And he's back on earth to tell his message, but he's not happy about it. He doesn't want to be here because heaven was 70 times 7 more beautiful, like, than we can even imagine, than he could even imagine. And he, was there. But the people you talk to, they don't want to come back. So I have a hard time thinking if I ever get there, I hope I get there, why would I want to come back? Because you're bored? I don't know. It's a really, really tough thing for me to follow, if you want to put it that way. It's just like, I know, and there's religions, like, is it Hindu where you come back as a cow because that's their sacred animal, I don't know. And I don't know. I'm not like a religious expert, so I know all the different types of, cultures and their beliefs. Okay? I just know mine. Other basic, religions similar. So, I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think about souls coming back? Now, do I believe a soul goes to heaven right away? No. Do I believe sometimes people stay, they don't leave the soul doesn't leave, even though it's supposed to leave? Do I believe it doesn't leave? Yes. And I have stories. But yeah, I mean, because is it unfinished business, or is it they're just waiting for somebody? Yeah. But I don't know. Do you think you'd be bored in heaven? I don't know. All those people, all those stories, get to visit with them and experience what they lived through when they were on earth. And I mean, why would you want to be like, yeah, shove me off and send me again. Let's see where I end up this time. No, I don't know. It's weird. What do you think? It's weird. Anyway, it's a weird topic. Anyway, today, what are we doing? Beeswax candles. I love beeswax. Love beeswax. I love beeswax candles. They have so many good things about them, even if you don't scent them. I do sometimes scent my beeswax candles. 90% of the time I don't. They're just beeswax candles. And they smell heavenly. And I get them from a place in Minnesota. It is not the smoky scent, and I'll explain why it's smoky, and all this stuff. But yeah, beautiful. I love beeswax candles. So that's what we're doing today. 3 things. Dream big. Be true to you. You are worth it. Have you received my newsletter? Let me know if it got out, if it went anywhere. That'd be a good one, right? Okay, 3 things. Dream big. Be true to you. You are worth it. And let's go check out this beeswax candle making. And to our candles. This is where I buy it. Gardener Bees. And they smell heavenly. So we're going to melt it. Double boiler. You don't want to burn beeswax, so I double boil it. Yes. Why does some beeswax smell smoky? Because they use a lot of smoking with the hives. So the less smoking you have to do with your beehive, the less smoke that your beeswax retains. Interesting, huh? So it's not that it's bad. It's just, that's what the beekeeper does. This stuff smells, I gotta smell it again. So delightful. Like, it is so yummy. Like, this is what beeswax should smell like. Okay, and so we're going to put this in this makeshift double boiler. I'm going to put it on the stove and get the water boiling. And then I am actually going to turn it down to about, like, medium. And see, it's slowly starting to melt. And it's going to take a while, you guys. It takes, like, 15-20 minutes, for that to melt. While it's melting, you get your wicks and your candles ready. I have silicone molds and I have plastic molds, and some jar molds too. Just make sure you put your wicks in there. I think I'm doing that one upside down. I can't remember. Sometimes I do that one upside down just because it seems to look better. Does that make sense? It's a weird thing. I use clothespins. They hold them in place because my other things, if they're upside down like that, those little other ones for the jar wicks, they don't work. Obviously they don't work. So, let it cool to 160 degrees. You have to get it to about 180, your wax. And then you're just going to let it cool down a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to get lots of fractures and sinkholes. You might still get a few sinkholes. See, I'm pulling out some jars now. You might get some sinkholes, but you don't get as many. Does that make sense? So, yeah, beeswax is really interesting. I'm weighing the bottle, so I know how much beeswax goes in there. But if you don't know how much beeswax to melt down, all you do is measure. You pour water into your container, and that's the amount of beeswax you need. Isn't that cool? Because if you pour half a candle and then you melt more and you pour half a candle, you will have a line. Soy wax isn't that picky, but beeswax is. You will have a funky line there. So I think that wasn't ready yet. Yeah, he wasn't quite ready. So then it went to my toothpick option. So I'm just going to pull the wick down because as they cool, you don't want it to totally solidify and your wick is, you know, 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. I mean, you know, it just doesn't work that way. So, but the toothpick thing, I tape one end. That works great too. It really does. I just couldn't find them at the time. They were with some wicks in a little Ziploc bag at the bottom of my shelf. And yeah, it took me a while to find them. But yeah, seriously, those work too. It works great. Just make sure your wick is in the middle. It's on the wire rack so that the wicks on the bottom don't, you know. See, there you go. There's one. That's the spiral one I'm making. And see? Yep. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, don't mess with that. Oh, they have solidified up a little bit. Yeah, you can tell from the middle. And you just want to make sure you pull it down. And you can always take a heat gun to the bottom and kind of, you know, straighten it out a little bit. It's the bottom. It's going to melt. And I actually have little jars for these for people who don't like molded candles. You can purchase a jar also and then just put it in there. And it's like, you know, forget it and set it. No, don't. Don't forget your candles. That'd be bad. So bad. Now, putting wicks in bottle jars, or glass jars, sorry, is a lot easier. But what I do is I get some wax on the bottom of, I stick the wick into the hot wax, and then I just put it into the jar where I want it and let it set up. Or you can put a little wax in the bottom and try and, you know, keep it where you need it. It's not too difficult. I know some people buy little sticky glue tabs or whatever, and that's totally fine. Whatever your desire is. The interesting thing about beeswax also is that beeswax is the same weight whether it's melted or it's solid. Kind of like butter maybe? I don't know. That was supposed to be an interesting tip, you know, so it doesn't matter if you weigh out beeswax pellets or you weigh out melted stuff, it's the same. Absolutely the same. So if you're going to dye it, okay, when it's 180 degrees, that's when you want to add your dye. You want to add your scent when it's just a little bit around 180 degrees also, to get it to, those molecules are open and ready to accept the fragrance. I don't know if that's true. That's what they say. Beeswax can hold, I think, up to, they say 6%. I've read 12% of fragrance oil if you're going to scent it. Okay. So here I am at 184. Like I said, I don't scent them. I don't color them. It's just going to sit there, and he's going to wait till I get down to, well, that's 157. 155 to 160, you know, you just want the temperature down there. If it gets below 155 is kind of pushing it because it starts to solidify. Okay, you don't want to bust the jars either, but they should be heat safe, so that shouldn't be a problem. Do a smooth, slow, continuous pour, otherwise you will have lines. Some people put it in the oven at 170 degrees to let it cool slowly. So you'd preheat your oven, turn it off, and then put them in there. I was going to try this. I don't know if I like it. It's just not me. There I am putting some stuff on. People have a hard time, they say, cleaning up their beeswax containers, even though I do use Pyrex. If you freeze it, I just use a little scraper. I might show you that. It works just fine. I don't have a problem. So yeah, clean up. It's not as easy as soy wax. You pretty much, oh, I did show it to you. Pop it in the freezer. This is actually not even in the freezer. I just took my scraper and after it's cooled, and I just scrape around it and get most of it out. And then actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it for soy wax, and the soy wax will melt. You know, it'll melt with the soy wax, and then I don't really have a problem because soy wax cleans up easier. I've never had a problem cleaning up beeswax. I don't reuse like my little stir stick and stuff like that. They just stay, you know, I use them specifically in the little clothespins, specifically for beeswax, you guys. Okay. this is my spiral. It took us forever to figure out how to get that out of there. I'm not kidding you. Beeswax will shrink. So if you can't get it out of your mold, you can put it in the freezer and it'll shrink actually. So it's actually smaller than your container is. The silicone molds, I cut them down the side. See, halfway down the side. That's why there's usually a rubber band on there. And you just carefully remove them and pull them out. And there goes the rubber band. That's my sweater one. I call him my sweater. He's so cute, isn't he? He's just so cute. I love my beeswax candles, you guys. I seriously do. And some tips on them, like what's so great about beeswax candles. Oh, I'm going to show you how I fix my sinkholes. Just poke holes around the wick and then just fill it up with beeswax. Beeswax is well known for being able to detox the air around you. It actually destroys pollutants and toxins in the air. And the American Lung Association has endorsed and recommended beeswax for breathing support. My kids don't believe this. That's because he has lung issues. I mean, you know, the kid who's allergic to everything is outside, works in a stockyard with livestock, rides horse, rides bulls, has a dog. I mean, you know, these are labels that are important to put on there for burning properly. And does it say? It does not say on there that you should trim the wick. It's very important when you relight a candle to trim the wick. I will link the care instructions from my website on how to care for your candles. I will link that below. And then you just curly cue the top. Isn't he cute? Just take a pen or a pencil or whatever. And because there's actually wax on the cotton wick, you can just curly cue it for a cute look. But aren't they beautiful? I love, 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 love them. And it's such a homey, beautiful light they give off. I hope you had a good time. Thank you for dropping by. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.